All right, review for Screamboat. The Screamboat, the Steamboat Willie supposed movie. On the last ferry of the night in New York, passengers and crew are hunted by a merciless rat, and what should have been a peaceful crossing turns into a bloody massacre. So this has David Howard Thornton as the rat, as Willie. He is, of Terrifier fame. Terrifier 2, 3, as Art the Clown. And he's hunting people down, and, it's a pretty generic horror movie. And I thought it was just absolutely terrible. I mean, I guess that's what all these are. They're just terrible. This one, man, I mean, it's like an hour, 40 minutes. It felt like 3 hours. I was just like, I just kept looking at the time. I was like, when will this movie end? It just is sluggishly slow. And it doesn't help that throughout the movie, David Howard Thornton, I think what they did is they like shrunk him, and he's in some scenes, but in other scenes he's like, when there's like a wide shot of him, it's obvious bad CGI. I think what they did is they shrunk him in a computer and then they put him into different scenes, and it looks terrible. It looks absolutely terrible. I know this movie doesn't have much of a budget. I don't care. This movie's a piece of shit. This movie's terrible. I mean, is it worse than what was it, Mousetrap or Popeye the Slayer Man? At least in those movies, they're in the scene. So, I don't really know. They're all pretty bad. I mean, I like David Howard Thornton in Terrifier. I think he's great as Art the Clown. I don't know. I think the CGI just messes everything up, and it makes me hate the movie even more than I would have. And I don't really like the look of Willie. I mean, he just looks disgusting, and he's got this weird hat on. I mean, he's right there, but yeah, and they're shrinking him down with a computer and then compositing him in a scene, and it looks terrible. Now I will give, compared to the other ones I've watched, which is Mousetrap and Popeye the Slayer Man, I think this movie, it's weird. This movie has some direction and cinematography that are better than those. It looked like maybe they had a little bit more money than them, but not enough to make that CGI work with Willie. So yeah, because at first I was like, okay, this kind of feels like it's better made, with the music and the soundtrack and some of the stuff in the beginning. I was like, all right, but then you get introduced to these terrible characters, like these groups of girls. One of them, it's her birthday, and she's all dressed up like a princess, and she's so annoying, and you just hate her and all of her friends, and they're incredibly annoying, and they're doing like Instagram dances, and is this what people do these days? Like, it's just all about social media and trying to, do a dance and trying to get rich or famous. But I don't know, like, these chicks aren't even like hot. I think they're ugly and they're just gross. But I guess that's the point. You just want them to be killed by Willie. So, but the kills aren't even that great. I mean, like I said, it's like he's not in the scene a lot of times, so it messes everything up. So, yeah, I hated this movie. I thought it should sink to the bottom of the sea. Apparently some of it was shot in the New York harbor for background. Filming sites report the filmmaker chose to shoot many scenes on location in New York City. Really? To give Screamboat a realistic feel? Doesn't feel realistic at all. Establishing shots were filmed at Staten Island Ferry, Whitehall Terminal. Okay. I don't know, it just looks like they got an old abandoned boat and shot a movie there. And I was not impressed. And none of the characters are good. You hate all of them. I mean, there's a little kid that's okay. I guess you don't hate him. His mom gets killed. At one point, one of the characters goes nuts and puts on a helmet that kind of looks like Willie's head and says that now she works for Willie. And she sabotages the boat. She steals the flares. She starts saluting Willie when she sees him, but then he just gets pissed at her for no reason and kills her. And then and he also eats people too. Yeah, and there's a backstory of Willie. It goes into a cartoon, and this is obviously a reference to Steamboat Willie. And there's a character named Walt. I wonder who that is. And he's friends with Walt, and then Walt falls overboard and dies, and that drives Willie insane. And then later you find out that there was a female Willie, you know, and I wonder who that is, huh? And you don't find this out till the very end though. And there's a picture of him, Walt, and the female. And this makes one of the girls go, huh, I could dress up as like a sexy rat woman. And then she tries to seduce him. It's so dumb. So dumb, but I don't know what to, you know, it's Screamboat Willie. So it's a dumb, terrible movie. I would not recommend it. Honestly, I would probably say Popeye the Slayer Man's better, just because he's actually in the scenes. Like, I don't know, I'm just like, should they even have shrunk him? Maybe just have him be a giant Willy, a giant rat. I think it probably would have looked better. The kills aren't even that great. One guy just blows himself up with a flare gun. You think that kills Willie, of course it doesn't. Willie gets one of his eyes poked out. One of the scenes, he sprays everyone with a bunch of water and then he electrocutes all of them. I guess that was like probably the best kill. There's actually some practical blood. Practical blood goes shooting everywhere. I didn't hate that kill. But man, this movie feels like a slog. Just like, oh man, when is this gonna end? It's on Prime Video for $10. Okay. Totally not worth it. It's a terrible movie. I just really hated this movie watching it. I really, really hated it. Because you got David Howard Thornton. He's a good... what would you call that? I mean, like a good villain actor with makeup, you know? I mean, he's good as Art the Clown. But see, in those movies, they don't mess it all up and try and shrink him into this little thing, and then he's doing these dances, and he's laughing all the time, and he's like whistling at chicks, and it's not funny. I didn't find any of it entertaining. I was just like... I was like, do they think this is funny, actually? Or are they just basically killing time? I'm not sure. And I don't care. This is all spoilers. It's a terrible, terrible movie. And at the very end, he falls off the ship. And then, guess what? He's still alive. He's, you know, he washes up on shore in New York. And then a little rat with like a Minnie Mouse costume, you could see just barely, you know, in the shot, comes up, and then he starts whistling at her, And oh, so she's alive, but what, she's just living on the shore for some reason and he had no idea? Very, very stupid. Stephen Lamort, he's the director. I think your movie sucks. I'm sorry. I think your movie sucks. He directed The Mean One, Bury Me Twice. I've never seen any of these. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, just the kills aren't even that great. Like, you can't even, you can't even like come up with some better kills, but it's hard when I guess they shot a lot of Willie's stuff just in front of a green screen and then they just edited him in the scene because it looks terrible. I mean, it looks absolutely terrible. And it's a terrible movie. So, yeah. Screamboat. Absolutely crap.